Howdy folks, and welcome to another episode of Stanley and the Sea Can. Building off our last episode with SKS stuff and kind of cool features we can do, thought I'd make another one. We all know that the SKS has this is the OEM configuration. It's a Chinese model. It's got this default 10 round pin to 5, of course, magazine, little duckbill magazine that opens up out the bottom. We can feed that quickly by using stripper clips. And it's not so common anymore to get ammo that's preloaded on the stripper clips, so we have to load them ourselves. So we all know the game. You gotta squish this little metal dealie. It's kind of hard, it's kind of sharp, it kind of hurts your fingers. You load it in there, you gotta fight it, and it's not, not the most fun thing to do. It's pain the keister, all that good stuff. And do you really need to put all 10 on there? Maybe you only need 5. There's all sorts of issues going on with this, right? So with our buddy Tauflader Mouse, we developed a 3D printed SKS loading cassette. So in one of the earlier Tauflader Mouse videos, he talked about using, I believe it was JB Weld or Bondo inside of literally an old cassette box tape to hold the cartridges in the perfect angle. So that's what we've done here. We've got 3D printed versions for us. So we can load up our 10 rounds into this clip, and it may be hard to see on camera, but each of the cartridges is on a slightly different height and angle. And so what that allows us to do now is grab a stripper clip and just kind of compress the back spring part, and then we can just slide it on there. These are all dummy rounds, by the way. And slide it on, and now we were able to load all 10 cartridges relatively easily without hurting our little delicate fingers. And there we go. So now we could, if we wanted to load it into the firearm, as you know, I can't show you because of YouTube rules and regulations, but it would go into this stripper clip holder in the bolt carrier, and then it would just send it right down. So what happens if you load out 5 rounds? So you've loaded your firearm once, and you got 5 rounds left on your stripper clip, and they're all kind of jingling, jangling, and they're maybe not the right angle. You're trying to push on them, and you're pushing up here, and they're binding. You can push almost as hard as you want right here, and the cartridge binds in this little track on the back, so you can't get them out of there easily. And I remember when I was a youngin' and playing with SKSs, and it was such a pain in the butt to use the stripper clip sometimes. I just didn't. And you just kind of load them in the magazine one at a time. Or you switch to a detachable duckbill magazine. So how do you solve this problem, right? Well, so it turns out math doesn't lie, and there's some geometry stuff going on here. So if you push right at the very back of the cartridge, they slide perfectly. You can move them around no problem. And there's no torque issues there. You don't need to file the inside tracks or bend things and tweak things. They just kind of work, which is what they're supposed to do. So we took this and we designed a stripper clip spacer, we call this. So now we only have a few rounds left in there. Same thing as loading the cartridge. It's got lots of complex geometries. We can press the spring, slide this in the stripper clip, and it locks in there. And it now is approximately the same length as 10 cartridges. So the spring detent on both sides clips and locks. So now your cartridges are not rattling around. They're on there, they're perfectly good. And then if we were to put this into a firearm, in this case here, we can just push our thumb through this hole, and they come out super easy. So that's the purpose of this thing, is to help you, I guess, do more high-speed tactical reloads using stripper clips, and not have to worry about pushing on the cartridge in the wrong spot and having it jam and bind up. So just like stripper clips, they're reusable dozens and dozens of times. This is made of, it's 3D printed, but it's very nicely made on the inside. It's, I think, really solid. So this is going to last just the same life as your stripper clip kind of thing. You'll be able to use this dozens and dozens of times. So yeah, we call these the stripper clip spacers, and that's how they work, and that's what they're for. So that pretty much wraps up this nice short video about the SKS. Once again, for any old FUDs out there, these are dummy rounds, and this firearm does not have a bolt in it. So there's no way it could possibly fire. Here's the bolt for it right now. So, and it also doesn't have a spring. So there's no bolt, there's no spring. This is just a piece of paperweight at this point. So I guess all that's left now is Grandma. So the SKS reminds me of a story Grandma used to say to my cousin Bilo. It says, "You're so unlucky that if it was raining boobies, you'd catch a pecker right in the middle of the forehead." And that's a wrap.